Hey guys, it's Christine. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I am a homeschooling mama of 3 and I share homeschool content here on my channel. So if that's something you're interested in, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you enjoy this video, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button. I am going to be sharing my thoughts on the things that I do to make our homeschool days go a little bit more smoothly. This video is in collaboration with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from The Waldock Way. This is an ongoing open collaboration with fellow homeschool mamas on YouTube. And they share a new topic idea every month, and then we share our thoughts on it. And the whole premise behind this collaboration is that there are so many different ways to homeschool, and no one way is the right way, and you've got to do what works for your family. So I love the concept of it. I've done a couple of other videos already, and I will link the playlist down in the description so you can check out all the videos that go along with this and hopefully get some really good tips. If I actually manage to get this video filmed, it'll be a small miracle. My kids are just not making it easy today. Let's put it that way. I meant to film yesterday, but my husband was homesick, and that kind of just throws off my routine. Like, let me know if that's you. If I love it when my husband's home, but it definitely changes up our routine during the week. Even though we were on school holidays, it still makes a difference. So, anyway, I will try my best. If you hear lots of kid noises in the background, this is real life, okay? This is real life. I can't really do anything about it. I'm going to share with you the things that I do that help my homeschool day to go better, but they may not necessarily work for you. So take it and then add a grain of salt and realize that not everything works the same for everyone, but hopefully you'll get some helpful stuff out of this. So the first thing that I do is that I get up before my children, and I've been lax about this on school holidays because I don't have to. But during school times, I always get up before my children, whether that's half an hour at minimum or at least an hour usually. I get up at 6 and I work during that time. But even if I didn't have to work, I would still get up at least half an hour before my kids, because it just gives me a minute to wake up, to have some quiet time. There's no one demanding things of me yet. I don't have to fix breakfast and do all that kind of stuff. I can just be, and that is so helpful to me and a really good way for me to start my day. It's also when I generally do my quiet time with the Lord, and I just love it. I love getting up at that time and just having the quiet. I wouldn't consider myself an avid early bird. I'm also not a night owl, but getting up early is something that works better for me than staying up late. So that is, I love getting up earlier. It makes a big difference to my day. All right, the next thing, sorry, I've got notes because my brain's mush and I can't think without them these days. So number 2 is that I prep for the week. So this makes, I know we're talking on a day-to-day basis, but this is something I do usually on a Friday actually, or a Saturday. I will make sure that we have all our supplies that we need for the school week coming up, so that on a day-to-day basis, I'm not having to scramble around and find things. I'm also not having to at the end of every school day then prep for the day following, because personally, I find that kind of exhausting, and once we're finished with school, I want to be finished with school. I don't want to have to then go and read up on what we have to do for the next day. So I just set aside a little bit of time on a Friday afternoon or Saturday, usually Fridays, just to make sure that we're prepped for the week coming up. And I found that makes our day go more smoothly because there are fewer distractions. Because my children are so little, if I go off and look for things, chances are they're not going to be where I left them. They're going to be outside playing or something. So if I want to keep their attention, I need to make sure I'm there and focused, and prepping for the week makes a big difference. The next thing that I do is check my attitude. And this is something that is forever ongoing because I am human and imperfect, and I am impatient and selfish. That's kind of what we tend to be as human beings. So if you are finding that you are short with your children, girl, solidarity. I am totally there with you. I lose it all of the time. And so checking my attitude really makes a big difference. I would say it's probably the thing that makes the biggest difference in our homeschool day is my attitude towards it. And taking deep breaths, even when I get frustrated, And I wouldn't say that it's my children's lack of like understanding concepts that frustrates me. It would definitely be more like behaviors, especially if they're like bugging one another. That kind of thing gets me riled up. And so I have to really focus on working on heart issues with them and realizing that the academics come second to that. And so that's frustrating for me because I'm like, can we just sit down and get the job done and like learn together and do it happily with a happy face? But, you know, that's what I want to do. But the reality is that I have to focus on teaching them to have strong characters, to love one another, to be kind, before we focus on mathematics. And of course, not every day is like that. But if my attitude's not in check, it is not in check, and if I like just keep losing it and I have no patience in this situation, it's highly unlikely that they're learning anything academically anyway, and they certainly aren't learning great like character qualities. So yeah, that's a big thing for me. The next thing that makes a big difference in our homeschool day is if I am being flexible. So I'm a type A personality. I love schedules, routines. I like to achieve great things and work really hard on projects and just go, go, go. And flexibility does not necessarily go hand in hand with that, and it is something that I have certainly learned to be better at over the time that we've been homeschooling thus far. I can link a video here where I've talked about how homeschooling has changed me. I recommend watching it, especially if you're a new homeschool mom and you're feeling very inept and unqualified for the position. It'll encourage you, I promise. So go watch that. I cannot speak today. Words are hard. But just if I am flexible, our day goes so much more smoothly because I can like see that my child might not be in the right mindset to learn a specific concept. And so I can be like, okay, it's fine. We'll relax and we'll revisit that later in the day, you know, or maybe the toddler's just having meltdown after meltdown and I have to deal with that. And so school just cannot be done right now. That's okay. If I have the right attitude towards it and could be flexible, our day just goes better. It just does. If I'm being like inflexible and like, no, this has to be done, you know, we have to do this right now, it just causes tension in our home. And yeah, the learning is not sweet and it's not loving. And so, yeah, for me personally, it's learning to be flexible and gracious with my children. Number 5 is to define success. So I think we often have in our minds what we deem a successful homeschool day to be. And I need to challenge myself often, and I encourage you to challenge yourself if you feel like you're having failure after failure of homeschool days, to really look and define what success is in a homeschool day. Is it having all of the subjects checked off? Is it covering a certain amount of a book? Is it doing all the activities? Is it having good attitudes all the day long? Because for me, those, while on the surface, I think, yes, I would love to have all those things done. And that is important in some circumstances. But I think for the most part, what a successful homeschool day looks like is being together as a family, learning together and living life together, and working on hearts before academics. And of course, this is not me saying that academics are important. I probably made it sound like that throughout this video. That is not at all what I think. I want my children to learn, and I do think that's important. But if my whole focus is on that and everyone's got stink attitudes and no one's enjoying being together, then I feel like that is more of a failure than if we do less academics but are enjoying each other's company and are learning life lessons. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but I just would encourage you to like make sure that your definition of a successful homeschool day isn't based off of somebody else's homeschool day, you know, because the whole mindset of comparison is the thief of joy is so true and so relevant, and homeschooling is definitely not immune to it. So just don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Focus on your family, your children, and what is right for you. And I really do think that that will make your homeschool days go a lot better than others. And like, you can go on Instagram and scroll forever and you get these gorgeous like flat lays and like amazing homeschool room setups and everything. And even like in my Instagram, I can make it look like that if I want to. Like, you'll see little snippets of things that we're doing. But the reality is that's like one tiny snapshot of our day. And homeschooling for us doesn't usually take more than an hour. And there's so much, I mean, like, even like our homeschool spaces, most of the time my house looks messy because my kids play in it all day long, and they come traipsing mud in from the garden, and, you know, they bring me like bits and pieces of leaves and flowers and all these treasures that they're finding outside, and that doesn't necessarily make for a beautiful home as far as like home decor goes and like pretty homeschool spaces, but to me that is more beautiful. And so I just want to encourage you that beauty doesn't necessarily look like the little squares on Instagram. It looks like the interactions that you have with your children, and just those small moments throughout the day when you are connecting with them and you can see those teachable moments in life. Beauty is when your son brings you a rock from the garden that he found and he thinks is just the coolest thing ever and he wants to give it to you. Like, that's beautiful. It doesn't necessarily have to be captured on film and like put with all these other glamorous books and printouts and everything to make it beautiful. The act in and of itself is beautiful. So just, I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't compare, and just love your kids for who they are, and be content with your family for what it is, because that's what God has given you. So I felt like I got really preachy at the end there. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what makes a big difference in your homeschool day. Leave it in the comments down below. I will say, I didn't put it on the list, but a cup of tea or 3 or 4 during the day, that really helps. My husband can kind of tell my stress levels by how much tea I drink in a day. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars.